Go ahead.
Okay, we'll still wait for a few minutes for others to join. There are only 14 people in this session. We'll still wait for 2-3 minutes. Okay, fine, we can begin. In the last session, we have started with multi-threading, right? We have started with multi-threading, and we have seen the use of multi-threading. What are the advantages of it? Why do we use multi-threading? What is multitasking? Difference between multitasking, multi-threading, and what is how do we create threads in Java? So there are two different ways of creating threads in Java. The first way I have shown you by the use of extends keyword, extending the thread class which resides in the lang package. Today we are going to see the another way of creating threads in Java by implementing a runnable interface. I am sharing my screen with you. Is my screen visible?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. We have seen the first way of creating threads by. We have seen the first way of creating threads by extending the thread class. Anybody having any questions in that? Yes, anybody having any question in creation of the threads using the first method by extending the thread class? Anybody having any doubts in that? What about others? Dhruvi, Shri, Ivanchi, Bharti, Vidhi, Sefati, Divya. Okay. Okay, fine. Okay, fine. Then we can move on to the next way of creating threads. The another way of creating threads, like I said, is to by using the runnable interface. So we can mention implements runnable because it's an interface. Okay, and this runnable interface, it's already there in your lang package itself. We don't have to import anything again for runnable package, for runnable interface. If you go ahead and see your SRC, you will be seeing it inside the lang package itself. Inside the java.lang package, you can see you have runnable interface. Yes, and you also have thread class here. Now, if we see this interface, we can see that there is only one method over here. See, it is having only one abstract method. This interface is having only one abstract method, run. Okay, there are no other methods for this interface. It is completely empty. Now, we have to give implementation of this run method. And also, if you open your thread class, again you will be able to see that thread is already implementing runnable. See, thread class, it's already implementing runnable. So if you extend the thread class, again it is your duty to provide the run method, because run is the method that makes the thread creation. It makes the thread start. So if you don't, like in the last session also we have seen, if you already have a simple method like void show or something or void print or something, this method is not going to create threads. It is going to execute. If you create the object of test1 class and if you execute this method print, it is going to act like a normal method. It will not be multi-threading. But if you want to implement thread, you have to definitely implement or override the run method. It's already showing you the error over here that you need to give the body of the run method. So same like we have done in the last session also, I am creating void run function. I am creating a run method in this class. If this again method is not public, it is not overriding. See it, because in your runnable class, the function is qualified as public. Public abstract void run, meaning for overriding, the method should have the same signature. I need to add here public keyword. Once I add the public keyword, I am sure that this is going to be the run method of the runnable interface, and whatever body is written over here will be executed as soon as I call the start method. If you remember, we call the start method for starting the threads. But here it is showing me some error. We'll come to that later on. I'm simply writing here something. I'm creating a loop here that is simply printing the numbers from 1 to 10. Okay, and it is printing that I am from test 1. Okay, this is the method from here. Also, we can print the same thing, test 1 plus I am concatenating I over here. And similarly, I can create one more class that is already implementing the runnable interface, just like this only. And I can create the class as test2. I'm mentioning here test2, but we may look at which function or which thread it is currently calling if you are mentioning the class name over there. And then I am calling here the start method. As this start is going to call the run method, that was the case when start was the function of a thread class. Now, runnable method is not having a start function. It is only having run function. So it doesn't know how to run threads by using start function, right? So whenever you are implementing your threads with runnable, the first step is we implement the runnable interface. That is the first step. Second step is, as the start method belongs to thread class only, start method doesn't belong to our class runnable, in our interface runnable. Runnable is having only one function, that is run, and which is capable of running the program, running the thread completely, officially. But as we don't have this flexibility, as this OB1 and OB2 are currently not extending the thread, they don't know what is this start function. Okay, I'm putting here a test2. We are creating two objects of both the classes. As OB1 is not the object of thread class, it doesn't extend the thread class. It doesn't know what is the start function. See, it is going to show me the error over here because both these objects, they are not extending the thread class. If you are implementing runnable interface, then you have to create two threads over here explicitly. To create threads, we use again the thread class. I am creating the first object of thread as T1, and I am creating the object of thread class with the default constructor. Same, I am creating another thread. I am creating the object of thread class T2 with the default constructor. Now, to make this thread, to make this test1 and test2 threads, okay, though they are implementing runnable, we don't have such method as start in runnable, so we cannot call the run method. But thread class automatically has the run method. It knows what is run. So now what I am doing, I am making this objects point to thread class, or I am modifying the constructor of thread class, and here you can see I can mention the runnable target. Runnable target is nothing but the object of runnable class that you have recently implemented. We have implemented runnable in two classes, right? So I can mention here the target as either the object of first class OB1, or I can also mention the target as OB2. Are you so far getting what is the problem with runnable interface? The first thing you need to keep in mind is run method is the method of thread class. It is not the method of runnable interface. Sorry, the start method is the method of thread class, not the runnable interface. Second thing, start method is required to create the threads with simply calling run method. No, last time also in the last session also we have seen, if you simply call the run method, it is not going to create threads, but it is going to execute the program sequentially, not parallelly. So third thing is to create threads when you are implementing runnable interface, as the start method is known to the thread class, whenever you are implementing the program using runnable interface, we always create such similar threads that you want to create, and we can pass the object of this runnable class, runnable interface that you have implemented in which two classes, test1 and test2. I can pass the OB1, OB2 over here, and henceforth I can call P1.start, and I can also call P2.start. Is this so far clear to everybody? Are you getting this? What I'm
Yes,
saying?
ma'am.
Okay. What about others? Yes, Panjwani, Smriti, are you getting here what we are doing? Rishabh, Shri, Bharti?
Yes, we are getting.
Yes. Okay. So now this is going to act as thread only. You can see that the output is going to be parallel. Sometimes it may call test 1, sometimes it may call test 2. It can be in a different sequence for sure. Okay. Now, if they both are starting here, right? Both the threads are currently starting here, they're finishing it very easily. It is okay. It is good for us. We can also make the thread sleep here also. Okay. The sleep method can be implemented here also. There is no problem in that. I can, make this this one of the threads, I can make it sleep for some time. The same method you can call here also. It doesn't matter. As your thread class is everywhere, it can, definitely, you can call the statics method of this thread class sleep anywhere. And you can make this thread sleep for so and so time as long as you are trying and catching it. Have we done the sleep method in last session or not? Have we seen the sleep method in the last session?
Yes, ma'am.
You can definitely call and make any one of the threads sleep. This is nothing but the milliseconds that you are supplying over here. It is 1000 means it is 1 second. 1000 milliseconds you are passing here, that is 1 second. Okay. Anybody is having any question in what is run method? How do we create threads with two different methods? What is start? Do you always call run? No, we always call start. Then if you are implementing Runnable, then how do we create threads? By taking the use of thread class, you can pass OB1 here, you can pass OB2 here, which are nothing but the object of the classes that you want to create thread for, and then you can call the start method to make this thread run. Anybody having any questions in any of these two methods for creating the thread class? Okay. Okay, fine. Then I want to show you something else. Let us create the main class first. I want to show you different methods of thread class. Okay. Say for instance, we are creating 3 classes here. Okay. And I'm going to create 3 threads here. Okay. This, how shall I, okay, let us see. It is simply printing less than 5, I plus plus. Say for example, this function is simply printing math dot sign of this I. Okay. We can make it as, we can name the class as math sign. We can make the class named as math 10. We can also make the class named as math cos. Okay. I am creating the run function here. We have to extend thread for sure. This is simply calculating the 10 of the value. Simply giving you just one example. Okay, don't think much about it. I'm just showing you few functions of this thread class. Okay, and I am extending all of them with thread. So extends thread will come in all the classes. I'm simply creating 3 classes which are computing sine, cos, and tan of the degrees that you are passing here. Okay. It always takes radians as input, but just I'm not converting it into radians. I'm just counting degrees only. You don't have to worry about that technicality for now. Now, if I want to create thread, can you help me out? How will I create thread here? I'm extending the thread class. Can you tell me how can we create, how can we start these threads? Can you help me out with that?
And first we have to create the object.
First we have to create the object. Okay. We are creating the object. Okay. Okay, then
Now we have to call the start method.
the start. The same process will occur for all the other classes also. I am creating 3 different objects. I have created 3 different classes, and I am creating OB2, OB2, and OB3, and OB3.start. Okay. All these classes are going to function as thread only, so anyone can execute at any point of time. We are not sure of that. I'll just print here that I am coming from sign class. Okay. I'm coming from 10 class, and this is coming from cost class. Okay. Okay. See, they are all working in parallelly. Means they all are they are threads only. They are not executing sequentially. They are in multi-threading approach. They are all executing parallelly, sequentially. Now we can always. I'm going to show you the different methods of thread class. The first method that I'm showing you is the name of the thread. You can always set the name of the thread by using setName function. Those who have got the lab of getter setter, no, cylinder and circle, they might already be knowing this. We can set the name of any variable by using setName, and you can get the name of any variable by using getName. As the name is a variable which definitely will be of a string type. No, you can always get the name which will be returning the value of type string. If I simply put here that I want to get the name of the first thread, that is I'm calling getName function over here of the math cost thread, I can also put the same thing here also. Before starting only I am calling that I want to see your name, just print your name. As it is going to return string, no, we can print directly here in SOPLN statements. I am printing here the name. I am printing here the name here also. Let us print the name here also. But now I am printing the name of the third thread. Okay. If we are printing getName, then let us see what is the output currently. They can by default set the name of the thread. By default, the name of the first thread is always set as thread 0. Second thread is thread 1. And thread 2. This is the by default name that they have given. Whenever the thread is created, they are naming it as the first thread. Anywhere where you will create, no, anywhere you create the first thread, no, they will name it as thread 0 as the initial thread, then 1, then 2, and so on. It is going to increment the counter as long as you create new threads for the classes. But if you want to set your own name, you can also do it using setName property, right? Getter, setter both are the same functions, just like you have seen in the last session, also in the lab session. Now, if I want to set the name of the first thread, then I'll be using the setName function, which will take the name of the thread in the parameter. I will set that it is the cost thread. Okay. Then after that, if I print the name, no, it is going to print the name of the thread as the cost thread. See, you can always set the name of the thread. It is easy for identifying. Why do we set the name of the thread? It is easy for us to identify currently in which thread the error is currently happening, or in which thread it is currently throwing the exception, or which thread is currently not running properly. You can always get the name of the thread by using the getName property. Okay, default name is always 0, and also you can set the name as and when you want. I can also set the name of other threads also. I can simply print here that I want the other thread to be, I can call setName and I can make it as 10 thread. And another thread I can also set it as cost or this is sign thread. Okay, OB3 dot sign thread. Okay. Right, then along with this details also, no, the name of the thread is going to change here. Cost thread, sign thread, and 10 thread. Clear? The first two methods, getter setter methods, is it clear in your mind? What is the use of getName, setName? It is used for setting the name of the thread, and getName is used for returning the name of the thread. Anybody is having any question in getName, setName? Anybody? Okay. Okay, fine. Then we can move on to the next function of this thread class. Another function of thread class is you can always set the priority of the thread. The priority of the thread can be set By using set priority, get priority, again it is the getter setter only, I can set the priority of the thread. Now tell me, if I want this OB1 thread to execute before OB2 is happening, or I want to set this priority to be high, should I be setting it before start method, or should I be setting the priority after start method? Can you tell me? When should we set the priority of the thread? Shall we set the priority before we call the run method, or shall we set the priority after the run method is done executing? When shall we set the priority? Before the start method, right? Yes, you are right. We always set the priority because we want this thread to be executed in a bigger priority, then we always set it before itself. To set the priority, the method is same. You can, let's first try to get the initial priority, okay? I am calling the function getPriority, and we are simply printing here the current priority of the thread, okay? I am printing the current priority of thread OB1, okay? Of OB1, I am printing here the current priority of OB1. If I run this, it is going to print the default priority or the minimal priority or the middle priority known as 5. 5 is the normal priority assigned to any one of the thread. Whenever you are creating a thread, the default priority is always assigned as the normal priority. We also have minimum priority. We also have maximum priority. I'm going to show this to you. But any thread that you create, say for example, I'm calling this function before the OB2 is starting. If I'm calling this function before OB2 is starting, then it is going to print OB2's priority, OB1's priority I'm printing here, and I'm also printing OB3's priority over here. I'm printing the priorities of all the 3 threads. See, all the 3 threads are getting the same priority, 5, 5, and 5. So by default, priority of any thread that you create in Java is always the normal priority, that is 5. What is the lowest priority? The lowest priority is always 1, and the highest priority is always 10. 10 meaning the thread has to be executed at the earliest as possible. 1 is the lowest priority, means it can get, so 10 means it can get the maximum of CPU time, and 1 means it doesn't require the highest number of cycles for the CPU time. You can delay the execution, that is okay for the thread. That is 1, and always 5 is the normal priority, or you can say the medium priority, that is by default set with any thread you create. If you want to set your priority, then what you will do? If you want to set your priority, then same as getPriority, you can set your own priority by calling ob1.setPriority function. Whenever I call setPriority, I can assign some integer priority over here. What do you mean by integer priority? I can set here 1. I can set here 2 also. I can set here 3 also. I can also set here 10. 10 being the highest, I can set that. Currently, I am mentioning that OB1 is having the highest priority, and I am mentioning that OB3, before it is starting, I am allocating the lowest priority to OB3. I am allocating the lowest priority to OB3. I am setting it as 1. I am setting this as 10. And I am setting, I am not going to change OB2. I am keeping it as it is, that is 5 only. This is 1, lowest priority, 5, medium priority or normal priority, and you have the highest priority in OB1. What happens? Is it going to run according to your priority that you have set? Let us see. It is executing the cost thread. I have set it as the maximum priority. It is executing it, see, first itself. Okay, then it is going to 10, and then sign is executed at the last. But always it depends on the scheduler, how your scheduler is, or how your JVM scheduler is managing it. But usually, in most of the cases, you will get your lowest priority executed at last. See, all these sign functions or all these sign for the for loops that you have called, they're always at the last. Maximum of them, they're at the last, and then you can see one on one in between. But again, that depends on your JVM scheduler. But still, they're given one window open for you. You can set the priority. But any which ways, the output is going to vary in different devices because the JVM scheduler is going to schedule according to its requirement. Okay. But the ideal thing is, whenever you are allocating CPU over here with the maximum priority, the CPU's maximum time will be given to this thread. then to the corresponding thread, and then to the last thread that you have set it as 1. One more thing I want to convey here is that you can always, you don't want to write integers over here, that is okay. You can also write here predefined static variables of thread class known as thread dot. You can see max priority, min priority, normal priority. If I set it as max priority, it is nothing but 10. Okay. If I set the priority as normal priority, it is nothing but OB2 dot set priority. If I set it as thread dot min priority, or normal is 5, and if you set it as thread dot min priority, it is nothing but 1. Min priority means 1, normal means 5, and maximum means 10. How I am saying this? Because if you go in your thread class, it is written over there. See, if you open your thread class, they have created the priority variable here itself. And here you can see, let me search if I can get it. Yes, see, minimum priority is 1, normal is 5, and maximum is 10. Again, you cannot assign a minimum priority less than 1. Also, you cannot assign a maximum priority greater than 10. How? Why it is like that? Let me show it to you. If I assign maximum priority, I am simply adding 10 over here. Okay, I am setting it with max priority. Also, I am adding plus 10 means I want the priority to be here 20. Then what is happening? See the output. It is throwing illegal argument exception. What do you mean by this exception? This we haven't done in exception classes because I wanted to show you here. What do you mean by illegal argument? Illegal argument means if you go back to thread class, you can see here. Let me show it to you. If I can find it, I'll show it to you. It means that it is going to throw the exception as soon as the value of priority is extending 10. If it is greater than 10, it is going to throw the exception illegal argument exception. It is going to throw it whenever, okay, you can search it whenever you are free. The code is written here itself. Let me see if I can, oh yes, here, see, set priority function, right? It is throwing the illegal argument exception when it is throwing whenever your new priority, that is you are setting in the bracket when you are calling this function set priority, it is greater than 10 or it is less than 0, it is going to throw this exception. This means that the parameter that you have passed in the bracket is illegal, or you may want to change it. It is not in the particular range. Even you can manage this exception if you want. It is again, you can even code it for yourself if you want. It is again your choice. For custom exceptions, you can create such exceptions like this again, but still it is throwing the illegal argument exception whenever the priority is exceeding these two ranges. Yes. Anybody having any questions in what is get priority? What is set priority? Where do we set it? What is normal priority? How to use it? Is it a static function? Is static variable? Yes. Thread dot, you can see it is a static variable over here. Same for normal, same for minimum also. And whenever you exceed or whenever you decrease the priority that you want to set, it may cause illegal argument exception. Anybody having any questions so far? Okay. What about others? Only few are answering. Only one or two is answering. Okay. Okay. Fine. Aarti, what about you? Ivanshi, Vignesh Prasad. Are you getting this thread unit? Are you getting that what we have done here? Pima, are you there? Okay. Fine. Samir Alam is there. Okay, fine, no problem. Now, okay, yes. So what methods we have seen so far? We have seen start method, we have seen run method, we have seen get priority, set priority, get name, set name. And we have seen this variables for denoting or mentioning the priority whenever you are setting the priority. Next thing I want to show you is, okay. Before, I don't want to set the priority right now. I'm deleting the set priority for now because I want to show you something else. Okay. I'm removing it for now. I'm simply starting 3 threads. I'm showing one method. If you remember sleep method, sleep can pause the execution of that thread for certain seconds. I'm putting here conditional sleep, okay? I'm putting here conditional sleep in the sense I'm mentioning that whenever your eye is even at that time, you want your thread to go to sleep state for just half a second, okay? And then I'm mentioning here try and catch both. Okay, I'm mentioning here try, I'm mentioning here catch, and okay, that is okay. I don't want to print any message. That is okay for me. And okay, for else only I want to, or maybe outside this if I want to, or maybe inside also I can print. I am printing the sign of I. Sleep is going to stop the execution of that thread for half a second. You can even see it stopping here, right? It is going to pause the execution of that thread for that much second. It doesn't mean, just hear my words very carefully now, because the difference between yield and sleep will be asked. Anywhere you go, in interview also they can ask the difference between yield and sleep method. Sleep is stopping the execution, sorry, not stopping, pausing the execution of all the threads for this much amount of time. Here is pausing the execution of the complete program. See, whenever it is paused, none of the threads are running over there. Everything is paused for this much amount of time. Sleep is pausing the execution of current thread. Along with that also, other threads are also not able to execute because it is the complete state of this program is in sleep mode. That is the sleep function. If I change this sleep to yield function, that is YEILD, yield function, what is yield doing? Yield, just see the output and then you'll automatically know. Yield is whenever, okay, without condition also if I can call yield, let me remove the condition over here because condition it is difficult for you to understand. Okay, without condition I am simply calling the yield function. What is yield doing? Yield is going to make our execution delay for just 1 or 2 runs. Yield is going to give other threads more priority in running. Whenever you are calling yield in any of the thread execution, yield is going to allow other threads to run. That doesn't mean that the program is currently stopped. That doesn't mean that other threads are sleeping or am I sleeping? No, I am at least allowing other threads to run for even 1 run or even for 2 runs. I'm imagining that they are having more priority and I am allowing them to run before me. That is yield. And sleep is completely the execution of the program is currently at a halt state. It is in a pause state. And then when the sleep period is done, you are done sleeping, when you are awake, again the routine of the execution again begins. There is nothing such as priority or giving other threads chances to run. It is not like that. Yield is going to do what? It is going to allow other threads to run first, at least for 1 or 2 runs. It is going to stop its execution and then it is going to again continue. See, it is stopping the execution for its, the sign thread once here, again stopping execution for sign here. See, 10 cost is running, sign is done at the last. It is halting its own execution for other thread, giving priority to other threads more. It is stopping its execution for 1 or 2 runs and then it is again giving priority to other threads and then it is running on its own. That is the use of yield function. Yield can halt your execution of the program, execution of the thread for 1 or 2 runs, or maybe it is assuming that other threads are having more priority, then you execute them first. I'll continue later on, but the program is not sleeping at that time. Are you getting the difference between yield and sleep? Okay, okay, good. Okay, yes. Then I am coming to another topic here. Forget yield, I don't want to do yield now. I want to show you one more thing. If, okay, this is an important thing, you will understand it directly. If I want to, these are the 3 threads in my program, right? I have even told you before also, your main itself is 1 thread, okay? If I am executing a statement here, hello, and I am executing a statement at the last here, bye. Okay, then see the execution sequence of hello and bye. Okay, hello is printed at first executed. Okay, bye is here somewhere, but no, it should be executed at the last when all the threads are done executing. Okay, are you getting the problematic scenario over here? By should be executed at the last when all the threads are done executing. See, it is still executed in between. See here it is executing. But no, I want the by statement to execute at last when all the threads are done running. The reason it is executed somewhere in the between is that, if you remember, I have told you, main itself is one thread. Whenever you get the exceptions, you will get the exception in a thread main, meaning main itself is one thread. If you are getting, if the main thread is not having any other tasks to do, hear my words very carefully. If the main function, if the main thread is not having any other tasks to do apart from printing hello and bye, it can simply print it before itself. Before the execution of all the threads, it is printing because all the threads are executing on their own. They are independent threads, okay? They have their own run method. They are doing their own tasks on their own. They don't need main here. Only once when you are calling the start method, when the run method is called, at that time only you need the main thread for calling other threads. But then the threads are executing on their own independently, parallel programming or multi-threading. You don't need main over there. So what is the main's task now? What is main doing? Main is ideal over there. So what main will do? Main will pick up the next statement and execute it. What is the next statement? By. So you feel that it is executed before, but it should be executed at the last, right? The execution should be in such a way that once all the three threads are done executing, once all the run method is completed for all the three threads, then only the by should execute. No. The problem here is that by is executed way before the threads are completing its execution. See, here itself the by is getting called because now once the threads are started, there is no need of main function. Main thread is free at that time. So main is picking up the next statement possible and it is printing the and finishing its task and it is exiting, terminating because other threads are still running, but it is finishing its task before the other threads. The ideal situation should be here that main should wait for all the other threads to finish its task. And then only it is should be able to print by. To incorporate such scenario, whenever you are calling, whenever your main is creating three different threads, and you have to print something at last after the execution is terminating. If you want to print something at last, you have to wait for all the three threads to run its or finish its execution, and then you need to execute the statement at last. This is a scenario over here. You want the threads to finish the work first, and then the main should come and finish its task. The by statement should be at the last. If you want something like that, then we have a method known as join. Join method is going to wait for other threads to finish, and then the next statement after it is executed after the threads finish their work. Join is actually used for waiting for other threads to finish its work. If I mention here that I want OB1 to join, I want OB2 to join, and I also want OB3 to join. OB3 to join. Join means you are going to allow these threads to finish their work, and once they join the sequence of execution, they are currently independent threads. They are not in the actual sequence of execution. They are not in the main threads execution. They are independent threads. When you want them to finish their process and you want to join the execution, the main execution path where your main thread is currently running, this join is going to allow these threads to finish first, and then once the execution of all the statements in the run method is done, then this join function is going to club the execution path of all the threads and join into the main thread execution path, where after that you want to print the by function. Are you getting the scenario? What is the use of join function? Join is going to let the thread finish its execution task and then join the actual sequence of execution, or join the super thread which has created threads from its body. Main is creating 3 different threads, right? They are in each having their independent path of execution. Now, once they are done executing, you want them, these 3 threads, to join the main path of execution. That's where you are using the join function. If you see the output, you will understand it better. But before I show you the output, it is going to throw uninterrupted exception, because you may be calling this function before it is executed, before it is terminating the execution. But you are not doing it before, you are waiting for them to finish it, then you are calling the that is okay. But for this, you may allow the throws keyword over here. You may add the throws exception, that is okay. If you throw it, the possibility is there, the exception may occur. Then here I am not catching it, JVM will catch it on its own. That is okay for me. I don't want to handle it. I'll simply run the program, and then we can see that once all the threads are done executing, see, it is printing the first 3 messages, then it is printing sine 10 cos, sine 10 cos, everything is done executing. At last, it is joining the main thread, and then it is printing the by function. Any number of times you run now, the same scenario is going to be there, because join is going to, the sequence of it is an internal execution may vary. The sequence of thread execution will definitely vary. That depends on which thread is getting called first. That is totally independent. We cannot schedule that. But the join function waits for other threads to finish, and then it joins the main path of execution. If I comment this, I want only OB1 and OB2 to join the main thread, then even before OB3 is done executing, no, because OB3 is not joining in our join procedure, right? Then even before OB3 is done executing, no, by can be printed before that also. I maybe have to run 3-4 more times for this to work, but you get the gist that whenever, because it is scheduler, we cannot predict what is the output over here. Okay. That is okay, because we cannot predict what could be the output here. But the actual use of join is okay. The actual use of join is whatever the threads that are participating in the process, if these threads, they have to execute first, and then you want to, at last you want to execute the rest of the statements, you can always make them join in the main thread, and then they can perform the sequential execution of the rest of the programs. Okay. Anybody having any question in join function?
Ma'am, can we explicitly give priority to main function, like main function thread?
Okay, you want to give priority to this main thread. It is always the caller thread. It is always having the highest priority. The main class, the main function, it is the caller thread. It is always having the highest priority. Still, you can, there are notes if I can set priority. Oh yes, you can do this. See, current thread is going to call or access the current thread in which the body is getting executed. Okay, current thread is nothing but the thread in which you are calling the whatever function it is. Okay, it doesn't apply to main only. Current thread applies to this also. You can also call current thread here also, meaning the current function in which you are executing. You are calling this current thread. Okay, current thread refers to the current run method of this particular class. Then yes, you can set the priority here. See, if I can get the priority here, you can always set it anywhere. I can even get the priority here also. See, I'll show it to you. I'm combining here. Then you can obviously set. I'm calling get priority here, okay, and I'm setting priority as 10 over here, say for example. Then it will definitely call the priority 10. Priority 10. See, why it is printing that? Because you are calling the current threads get priority, which is nothing but which class is science priority. And sign priority, we have kept it as 10, no? So it is printing 10. Yes, you can do it like that. Where you have set 10 over here. OB, see here. We are setting this as 10, no? Current priority of the thread is 10, it is printing. Yes, you can do it like that. Using current thread. Yeah?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Okay. Anybody having any question in the functions I'm repeating here? Get priority, set priority, get name, set name, sleep, yield, join, current thread that you've seen right now only. You can even call current thread over here. That is okay. Start and run. These functions we have seen. Anybody having any questions in these functions? Functions of thread class. Okay. Then I want to show you one more small function. Okay. Then I want to show you one more small function. How shall I show you that? I'm thinking. Okay, yes, here only I can show it to you. Or maybe at last also I can print. Okay, I am printing here that is OB1 alive or not. Alive is a function that checks whether the current thread is alive or not. Alive means is it still executing, is it still there or not. I am printing here OB1, okay, so we can see it very easily. And I am printing OB1 is alive or not before start, and I am printing OB1 is alive or not after start. Okay. Before I call the run method, I am printing whether it is alive or not. And after I am executing the run method, I am printing whether it is alive or not. And at the end also I am printing whether OB1 is alive or not. Let us see the output. IsAlive function is going to check whether currently the thread is alive, meaning is it still running? Is it still a thread or not? If it is a thread, no, then it is alive. Or if it is done executing, no, then it is dead, means terminated, or it doesn't exist anymore. Okay. If I am calling this, where have I called? Here, yes, is alive. As soon as I am printing the priority, okay, I am calling here OB1, is it alive? Before you start the thread, before you call the run method, I am explaining that, I am repeating that again also. Before you call the run method, no, it is not thread. Before you call the start, it is just another object of this class math cos or math10 or math10. Once you call the start method, no, then it automatically calls the run method to make this OB1 as a thread. So before this OB1 is not live, so it is printing here false. But once the start method is called and once the thread has started running, it is true, it is printing that it is alive, right? And at last, once all the process is done, see, I told you, no, whenever you are calling join, after join, we are sure that all the tasks of these threads are completely done. So the thread is exiting. So after that, anytime you print alive, it is going to print false. Why? Because it is done executing, the thread doesn't exist anymore, right? Before you are joining, no? Before joining, I am printing here. See, I am printing here, it is printing true. Why? Because the thread is still executing the stuff, right? But at the end of the join function, thread is done executing the stuff. It is waiting for other threads to finish. And it is waiting, it is combining in the sequence of normal execution where the thread is exiting its process. It is done executing the run function. So then after that, it is going to print here false because it is terminated after that. Are you getting the actual use of isAlive function now?
Ma'am, what if a thread is at sleep mode?
Okay, then it is still alive only. Even if you are pausing execution, no? Say for example, I am calling here that whenever your I module 2 is 0, it is not dead. Then you want the thread to sleep for half a second. Okay. I will surround it with try and catch, and I am calling the exception of it. Okay. Yes. Even if it is in the sleep, oh wait, I forgot to give the brackets. Yes. Even if it is in sleep, it is still alive, right? See, even if it is in the sleep, and the last one it will print false. In between, anytime you see it is true only. Where is it? See, true. First one is when you are calling before start. This is when you are calling after start. See, where is it? Here. You are calling is alive before start, it is definitely false. You are calling is alive after start, it is true. Why? Because it is still running. Even though it is sleeping, it is still alive. Dead means what? Anytime in between, you will never see false here. Anytime in between, you will never see false. You will see only false at the last when you are joining the threads. It is waiting for other threads to finish. It is finishing its own task. Then you are calling it. It is going to print false. Got it now?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Anybody having any questions in these functions that you have seen today? Okay, then I'll take the attendance and then you all can leave. We are done for today. Ayush,
Present, ma'am.
Rohan, Vipin,
Present, ma'am.
Manav, Anuj,
Yes, ma'am.
Riddhi, Riddhi is there, Yashraj, Yash,
Yes, ma'am.
Mansi,
Yes, ma'am.
Nikita,
Present, ma'am.
Manthan,
Present, ma'am.
Smith Kumar,
Yes, ma'am. Present.
Devansh,
Present, ma'am.
Pala, Yachang,
Yes, ma'am.
Dipen,
Yes, ma'am.
Tushar, Yash,
Present.
Darshan, Manyar,
Present, ma'am.
Parmar,
Present, ma'am.
Udayraj, Rishabh, yes. Ivanchi,
Present, ma'am.
Janvi,
Present, ma'am.
Bhanuchali,
Present, ma'am.
Harshvardhan, Vidayraj, Pradhanya, Karthi is there, Avinash,
Present, ma'am.
yes. Limbani,
Present, ma'am.
Arjun,
Yes, ma'am.
Maharana, Anmeraj, Vignesh Prasad,
Present, ma'am.
Anjwani is there, Sushil Prasad,
Present, ma'am.
Ruby,
Yes, ma'am.
Naitik,
Ma'am, AL27, Tanmay Raj.
Tanmay, you are there, yes. Naitik, Dharmik,
Present, ma'am.
Mohammed, Ronald,
Present, ma'am.
Nidhi, Arpit, Meghna,
Yes, ma'am.
Yash, Bhavdeep, Divya,
Yes, ma'am.
Saifali,
Yes, ma'am.
Samir Alam,
Present, ma'am.
Nisha,
Present, ma'am.
Vibhucha,
Yes, ma'am.
Parik, Aditya, Peplani, Aditya Jain,
Present, ma'am.
Jai Khan, Priyank, Tushar, Nikita, Girish, Pathik,
Present, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Pathik.
yes. Movement number 62, he is present. 61, 59, 60,
Yes, ma'am.
63.
Yes, ma'am.
Hima, you are there, right?
Yes, ma'am. I'm present.
Yes. 65,
Present, ma'am.
73, Mohammed, Darshan Raj,
Present, ma'am.
Jaideep, Kriti. Kriti, you are there, right? Vaishali? Vasu?
Present, ma'am.
Kunal?
Present, ma'am.
Hollywood? Yes, Smriti, I have marked you present. Yes, you all can lead the session.